here, Advanced Pain Centers. Today I want to talk to you about 5 ways to lose weight and to do it effectively and efficiently, and why actually the things that you may have learned about weight loss may be completely and totally wrong. In fact, a lot of these things that we're taught, I know I was taught early on how to eat and what to eat, it's just totally, it's completely backwards, in fact. So let's get into it. The 5 things. I'm going to start with the easiest ones and we'll work down to probably the toughest ones. So number 1, basically eat a lot of good fats. So this usually is not a big problem for people. It can make a difference though in what kind of fats that you're eating. So we're talking not about ones that are high in omega-6s. So these are the vegetable oils that are usually in a lot of the hawker stalls or a lot of the fast foods, the really cheap vegetable oils that we use for cooking, some of us. These are full of fats that we don't want, but fats even like in our program, we talk about even eating things like butter and bacon. These actually are very good fats for your body. Your body needs these fats. So eat enough fats. And it really also helps us stay full, which is an important part of losing weight, is eating enough so we can feel full, having enough calories to feel full, but not overdoing it, which different hormone responses, that's typically why if we eat a lot of carbs, it doesn't have the same hormone response. We don't have that same level of fullness, and so we keep going and we keep going. So that's part of it. So that's number 5. Number 4, getting enough protein. So we need to make sure that we're feeding this machine. So especially if we're doing exercise, but throughout the day, we're all doing things and we all need tissue repair. Protein is absolutely essential for this, and essential amino acids. So some of these things you need to have from other sources, and it can be plants or animals. But getting enough so we can have enough tissue repair, enough muscle, because muscle actually burns calories, burns fat. So if we're looking at losing weight, we want to have more muscle. More muscle means more burning. Number 3 is we want to make sure that we're not eating so often. And this is one of those things that we are just taught to do. I remember this is something that we learn to speed up our metabolism. We need to eat more often. What we know now is, in fact, it's the exact opposite. This will bog our system down. It releases all these hormones, these fat storage hormones, that don't allow us to burn through what we need to. So eating less, and in our program we actually talk a lot about intermittent fasting, and there's a lot to that. That's another video you can look at later. However, eating less often is actually key to this hormone resistance that a lot of us are living with, and learn. Again, we were thinking we were learning the right way of doing it. In fact, we were doing a disservice to our body by making it more resistant to these hormones that we need to actually stop storing fat and increase burning of fat. So that's number 3. Number 2, we want to cut down on the carbohydrates in our diets. Now this and the number 1, they're both, I think, the toughest. So when I talk about cutting some of these carbs to a lot of our patients, it can seem very daunting. Like, what am I supposed to eat? How can I do that? This is what I eat. This is what I grew up eating. And I can totally understand where people are coming from in this regard. However, if we're looking at making some big changes and we're talking about losing, say, a significant amount of weight, it all has to do with this hormone response, especially insulin. So if we're continually eating carbs or sugars, in fact, all these added sugars are the worst, it triggers this insulin response that does not allow fat burning. There's a lot to that as well, but just keep that in mind. If we eat a lot of sugar or carbohydrates, the insulin just in it, and just like the last number 3 there, of eating often. So say we're eating a lot of sugars and carbs, but we're eating it all the time. We're not letting our body burn through what's going in. It doesn't have a chance of getting to that fat. The body's always going to burn through that sugar first before it moves on to fat. So if we're continually feeding that sugar and the carbohydrates in, there's no chance for it to get there. So carbohydrate less, or for some people it's going to have to dramatically be cut, depending on what our weight loss goals are. We can, in our clinics, we can always discuss it individually, what those are going to be, and tailor a program specifically for you. Number 1, so eating whole foods and getting rid of the more processed foods. This is one of the absolute keys to losing weight. So it may mean that we need to be doing more cooking at home. This is going to be tough for some of us that are very busy. I totally get what you're saying when people say this to me. However, this is one of the most important things we can do to cut out some of the toxins, some of the preservatives, especially the carbs, is this processed food. Eat whole, natural foods as much as we possibly can. So that's number 1, and I know it's pretty tough, especially again in our busy lives, but there are ways of doing it. If we're doing intermittent fasting, we're skipping 1 meal, 2 meals a day, many days of the week. This can make it quite easy actually, because we just maybe need to prepare 1 meal. And again, if we're losing the carbs, we just concentrate on a protein, maybe some vegetables. It's not as hard as it may seem. So, well, I hope that was helpful. These are the 5 tips to lose weight, to lose it fast and efficiently. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know and subscribe. Thank you.